Here comes the whip, sweet silver whip, all ninjas say, throw cares away. Hey everybody, it's Dan from The Fold, and welcome back to another episode of... Ho, ho, ho. Ouch. Guys, episode 20 of the Weekly Whip is here. The Fold Music is rounding 150,000 subscribers this week. We may already be there by the time this airs. And we've said it for years. We've been a channel since about 2007. We always said we'd do whatever you guys ask, so you put it in the comments below. We'll jump into Lake Michigan, we'll pour ice water over our heads, brand ourselves with a tattoo. No matter how crazy your ideas are, just drop them in the comments below and we'll knock those out for you, okay? As soon as we reach 1 million subscribers. All right, we got a lot to cover this week. Gotta hop right into it. This week, the balance of the 2021 Ninjago sets were released, and we caught up with our buddy TannerFishies and Neil from TheFourCorners to go over the sets, get our honest reactions. We know some things now that we didn't know on the last reveal. Apparently there is a lost island of some sort called Keeper's Island. It appears that Lloyd is now a young man and looking like quite the heartthrob. And also we've been blessed with some sort of a tower of terror that hovers over the entire island. To me it looks like that weird car thing from Wayne's World. Excellent! And there's boats and they have sails, but apparently you cannot bring them into the bathtub with you. I'm very sorry, my bathtub enthusiasts. So anyway, chop chop, let's get right into it. All right, guys. Hey, Dan from The Fold here.
And hi, I'm TannerFishies.
And Neil from TheFourCorners here to talk to these guys about the Season 14 sets and get all their thoughts in. So we're going to talk about these Season 14 sets as well as the Overlord Dragon because we didn't talk about that in the last part. So we're about to have a ton of fun today. And the first set we're going to talk about is the Catamaran Sea Battle. So
cool.
Yeah.
You said Season 14. What? Season 14 of what? What is this?
Oh, Season 14 of Ninjago Masters.
Oh, Ninjago. Oh, what's that? I'm just kidding. All right.
Very different set. We haven't really seen much like this.
Yeah, how are they going to handle that? Like bathtub time? When are you going to play with these?
Sadly, these don't float. They might have wheels on the bottom so that you can play with them on tiles or carpet, but I was really wishing they'd float. So
oh, man. No buoyancy. Well, I got to start by saying here's the much anticipated and controversial picture of Lloyd. Yeah, and my first reaction there is it just looks like Lloyd's growing up. He's looking good. He's got his quarantine hair going.
The dragon on the bottom kind of looks like a reindeer to me because it has the antlers or something like that.
I was wondering what that was. I was thinking it was a snake. That's a dragon?
Oh, that could be a snake. I never really thought about that.
I think maybe just because it looks like an S, the way his body's curling.
Almost like a sea serpent. Did you also see the bad guy catamaran, like the description at the top? Replayed thrilling Lego Ninjago TV series, the island scenes, ride with the ninjas and awesome vehicles and ships as you battle to claim precious amulets. Any thoughts on those?
Well, I really enjoy, I guess, the scale of the set, I guess. It's not like my ideal set. It wouldn't be something that I would personally pick up. But I do enjoy the idea of having the two boats in one set. I feel like that's going to involve a lot of enjoyment for a lot of people. I don't think I personally will get anything out of that, but I do enjoy the actual title that we got here with the description, that being Ninjago, the Island. So I think that's an interesting title.
Is that a first for there to be, like, to me it looks like a sail with some art on each one?
Tanner knows a lot about the history of these.
Yeah, like with these certain types of sails that they use on these boats, it seems to be like a similar type of cloth material, kind of similar to what we got with sets such as the movie Destiny's Bounty, for example. That's basically the most notable set I can think of that I don't know if they started using the cloth material with that set, but I know for a long time Lego boats, like previous versions of the Destiny's Bounty, use like this type of vinyl material for the sails that oftentimes would warp with heat. So I'm glad that they switched over to using these cloth material, and from the look of this set, I think that's going to be making a return here for both of the boats.
That's cool. So I wouldn't have thought it's cloth. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, we have Lloyd's Jungle Chopper Bike. This one is the smaller sets of the wave for $20, and it has 3 figures. So normally $20 sets have 2 figures, but this one has 3 figures, which is absolutely fantastic. And for some reason, this one has a sail as well.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really interesting type of piece to include on a set such as like a giant motorcycle. Obviously, giant oversized bikes have been a staple of Ninjago for a really long time, and at least they're doing something different with this one. I mean, with oversized bikes, eventually they all kind of start to look the same. But this one at least takes some initiative and adds that sail, which can also kind of detach to create what appears to be a little flying vehicle for Nia, so that's kind of cool. And just overall, I think it has a nice, unique shape compared to some of the other oversized bikes that we've received from Ninjago in past years. So I'm excited for this one.
To me, this looks like an action-filled one that if I was picking one up, I'd probably like this one over the first one. And you're saying that's really interesting. I like what you mentioned, Tanner, about how that top one with Nia actually detaches from this bigger vehicle.
Mm-hmm. We've seen other images where it's kind of like detached, or it's attached to the back of the bike, but from what we can see in this image, it appears that it can separate and become its own separate vehicle, which I think is always fun. For the younger audience, it's always fun to have those play features in there to actually keep the set interesting, and because it is such a cheap set, I feel like this is one that a lot of people are going to pick up just because it's super cheap and it has a lot of play value too, so this one's going to be really popular.
I kind of expected the Jungle Chopper Bike to look a little like this, which before the sets were leaked, I kind of expected them, I imagined them in a different way. And so I thought there would actually be a chopping feature in the front. So I had these mechanisms that would move the blades up and down. But
very cool.
It turns out the bike itself, it didn't really have the chopper feature. I guess the chopper meant it was supposed to be a different type of chopper type of bike instead of really a chopping feature, which a little bit of a letdown for me because I was really hoping there would be a feature like that in the set.
Do you generally pick up everything, or are you kind of picky about what you're picking up these days?
I mean, I can't really get every set the first time, so I pick my favorite sets. So maybe a giant Skull Sorcerer's Dungeon from season 13, and then I'll have some other sets that I like, which I'll pick up later on before the next wave comes out. But this wave is awesome because what it does is, so usually Ninjago waves, they're over $300 to actually get the whole thing, and not very many people can do that. But this wave only has 4 sets, and all the sets are below $70. So many people are going to be able to get most of the wave this time and have the whole community going on and be able to replay these stories as best as possible without spending too much money.
I love that. First of all, it seems like they're maybe aware that money might be tight right now, so they kind of brought down the price points. But I was asking that because when you see a vehicle, for example, do you know how wide it's going to be and how long it's going to be? Are all vehicles generally the same size just because that's what size they need to be for it to be buildable with actual bricks?
In the back of the Lego boxes, they kind of tell you the inches and diameter of how big the vehicle is so that you know what you're buying, because the boxes can be deceiving sometimes. But when they're making this, I don't think they really care. They'll build as big as they want or as small as they want. There's really no...
Yeah, so at this point, when we're looking at pictures, we're not totally aware, but...
For people who've seen these sets, we know how big that wheel is. So, just looking at that, we know how big the bike mostly is going to be. So in that way, it's kind of easy since most Lego pieces are usually the same size. But moving over to the Jungle Dragon, we have another glider for Zane on the left, which makes me want to think that gliders are a thing this season. And then this dragon with the wacky looking head, which looks pretty cool.
I love this one. The color teal is so fresh, especially with that name, The Island, being in the theme. Looks like something I'd build and be proud to look at each day after I built it.
I really enjoy the expressiveness of the dragon. It's using a custom molded head, which are returning for this wave for some reason. In the past, Ninjago has used molded heads for dragons, but in recent years they've kind of switched over to using mainly brick-built heads. Most recently with the Legacy Ultra Dragon, they kind of used brick-built heads for all 4 of the heads. But this one here looks like they're returning to the the pre-molded heads, like the specialized head pieces, and I really enjoy just how expressive this thing is. I really enjoy how its tongue is just kind of sticking out to the side there. It makes the thing look kind of, I guess, feral in a way, and I feel like that's going to be a theme there with like the jungle aesthetic, because all of the ninja kind of look a little feral too in a way, so I kind of like that parallel.
The molded heads tend to like not really have much building, but this one looks like there's places to attach studs on top, and like the tongue here looks brick built. Many things here do look brick built, so it's kind of like a fusion between that, and I like how that's bringing down the price but also giving us the Lego feel while not exterminating that completely, so that's a plus.
I have a question. This guy on the bottom right, that looks a lot like that kind of head high ponytail that I see from like Notacon. Who is that guy?
He has a name. It's kind of hard to pronounce. I think it's Polaric, just reading it, Poulerik. So that's an interesting type of name there, but he's kind of like a
Pokemon
like a weird
name.
Purple dude. Yeah, he has like two heads, one on top of the other, and then that ponytail piece that Notacon has. So I don't think he's connected to Notacon in any way, but I know that was a popular theory. Like when the silhouette was just kind of revealed for the figure, people were kind of speculating that maybe Notacon could make a return, but obviously that's not him.
Okay, so I shouldn't be totally embarrassed that I don't know who that is.
He's a brand new character.
Cool. So yeah, I'm starting to see what you guys are saying where, let's say these big leaves just have the two circles on the back to click them in. Is that kind of what you mean when you say molded?
Yeah, when we mean molded, it just means a specialized part that's not really supposed to be, that's not really Lego. They made that for this, so like right here, I have Jay's Velocity Racer. So the rest of this is brick built. So these are all standard Lego parts, but the piece here, this was made specifically for season 12.
Yeah.
So that's what we would call molded. They usually have a few molded parts per season to help them out, reduce the costs, and it's cool that way.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier, that actually reduces the cost. I would almost think the opposite, but that's cool to hear. So keeping something molded could actually bring the price point down a little bit?
Yeah, because so when you're normally building with Lego bricks, it's usually a lot more dense, but when you have a larger part, it will make sure that the build isn't that dense. It's a lot lighter, so they're using less plastic there. So if that piece of foliage right there was built with bricks, that would add so many pieces. When you look at this thing called price to part ratio, which is what a lot of guys look at, that will be not that great because you'll see like 300 parts, but the set will be $50 mainly because it's using big parts. When we usually calculate 100 pieces for $10, which is usually the standard, but when you put in the big pieces, you're actually saving a lot of money there.
I think it looks interesting. There's like a few aspects of it that I think look good. There's a lot of detailing in this set too. Like you can kind of see like little skulls in the corner. You can kind of see crabs on the beach. There's just like a whole bunch of little details in there that I think kind of sets the scene for the island, and it kind of creates like, in my opinion, kind of like an environment that seems alive. Even though it is Lego, they have a lot of those details in there that kind of makes the scene alive, in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to this set overall. I feel like it's a nice little battle arena for the ninja, and then the main villain of this season is in this set as well. He's kind of like the dude with like the crab crown thing on his head, like in the middle there.
Yeah.
Chief Mamasis. And this is $50, so that's amazing value. Kind of reminds me of Tiger Widow Island from season 6, I think.
That was one of the first comparisons that I made in my initial video breaking down these sets. I kind of mentioned how it was kind of similar, but I think this does the job a lot better. It does a better job at setting up an island scene, in my opinion. So I feel like overall this is an improvement, and I guess that just kind of comes with time as well. Over time, I feel like they did a better job at, I guess, designing an island scene. And since that's what the season is all about, I'd imagine that would be on the top of their priority list. So I feel like they did a really good job with this set overall. It looks really great.
I'm loving that Tower of Power over there. At first I thought that was actually like going to be jutting out of the set like that, but I think it's just kind of hovering there as I look closer.
I've never thought of it that way. I always thought it would be attached to the structure and just spinning around there. But it would be cool if that was its own thing that you could take out and start playing around with.
I love it there, like on an angle too. It reminds me of, did you guys see Wayne's World?
A long time ago.
It's just cars on top of cars. It kind of reminds me of that. And it's on an angle like that too.
Yeah.
I almost want to say it's connected like on a ball joint. I'm kind of zooming in on the picture and I can kind of see that maybe it's connected in a way. So I feel like if it's on a ball joint, you could easily pop that off and just have it be its own thing.
Maybe it does like one of these.
Yeah, it can also like, spin and do pretty much everything a ball joint can do. So I'm pretty sure that's what it's connected on.
Yeah, so in season 2, the Overlord turns into a huge, humongous dragon, which Lloyd has to turn gold into and then defeat.
It's kind of like the big, like, climactic conclusion to season 2 of Ninjago. It's like the big final battle that, like, the first couple of seasons were leading up to. And this set is supposed to replicate that big moment where Golden Lloyd takes on the Overlord Dragon, so.
Awesome. So this is all those characters just kind of reimagined in 2020.
Yeah, it kind of like remakes older sets and older scenes. Like the Overlord Dragon was not a set originally. This is like an complete original idea for Legacy, but it's something that a lot of fans were wanting for a very long time. So,
this year they've made more Legacy sets instead of the normal season sets, probably for the 10th anniversary.
Hey, Lucas.
And this year they also did something special, giving us some golden figures with each set, which this one doesn't come with the exclusive golden figure, but that's something that is a thing in each set.
Lucas wants to look at the Legacy set and tell you what he thinks. Talk into the microphone. What do you think of this? So this is when the Golden Ninja Lloyd beat the dragon.
He beat the Lloyd beat when Lloyd when Lloyd beat the Overlord.
That was a big moment, right?
He almost, if he didn't become the ultimate Spinjitzu master, he wouldn't have won that fight.
Nice.
Because the Overlord ate him, but he was too light that it broke his head and then off, and then he died.
That's actually a pretty accurate replay of
and
what
then he
happened.
became a techno person, and then he got into the real world again.
He has a very like analytical brain, so he'll like tell the whole story start to finish. Very cool, bud. They said, hey, get your son down here. He'll know what we're talking about. We got one more picture to look at.
Okay.
All right, I think he wants to stay.
That was actually the last picture, but we had like more pictures of the Overlord Dragon from the back of the box, and I thought that would be a little good look.
Any idea what the price point is on this one?
$30 for this one.
Those purple things are really cool, huh? Those propellers.
They're like,
What do you call those?
his wings.
Wings?
Because these are the parts in this. These are the parts that, like he spread those and then flew.
Oh, that's how he flies. Gotcha. But yeah, sorry to get off track a little bit.
I don't know, bro. That was pretty adorable.
30 is a good price point for that, right?
Yeah, that is a fantastic price for the play stuff you're getting, as well as the amount of plastic you're getting as well.
Yeah, you guys are teaching me all sorts of stuff. That's cool. Like, because, aside from the show, these things are Legos first. So, Tanner, would you say that's kind of how you came at this? Like, you were more into Legos, and then Ninjago was like, oh, I'll follow this show as well? Or was it the other way around?
There were like a bunch of Lego themes that I was into before Ninjago was a thing. Like I was really into Lego City Police at the time when I was maybe 9 or 10 years old. And then Hero Factory came out, which I was into. Ninjago didn't come out until maybe a few years into my Lego obsession, if you will. So, but as soon as Ninjago came out, I attached to it, and I've been here ever since. So seeing something like the Overlord Dragon actually be a real thing is kind of insane, because this is something that a lot of people have been asking for years. And now Legacy finally delivers for it, so.
Oh, very cool. So the first time around, they did not have this in the set.
They should do more original things. Those seem to get more interest instead of just remaking the older sets.
Like, there's a lot of stuff that they can do for Legacy now that this is a thing. There are a lot of things that they can go back and adapt for Legacy that weren't sets before. So I feel like this opens up the door for more possibilities of things in future seasons, such as Season 5, for example. The Preeminent could always come in as a Legacy set, so... the Overlord Dragon, though, is a very tremendous looking set. I'm definitely grabbing this one when it comes out for sure.
That almost like puts it in perspective when fans like keep asking for those whips from like 8, 9, and 10, and we're like, what do you guys mean? Like, that's, that was 4 years ago we're not going to go write those songs, but maybe if the fans are seeing things like this where they're like retroactively going back and creating things that they missed the first time, maybe that's where that train of thought comes from. Like, yeah, why not just do it now? Legacy whip.
Yeah, for sure. Like, there are some things that should be sets that aren't, so I feel like Legacy is opening the door for that. So I feel like a lot of fans right now would really enjoy that.
Well, this was a blast. Is there anything else, Neil, that we can kind of take a look at, or is that what you had in mind?
That is it. I mean, if you want to show your son the season 14 sets,
I will. This is a village on an island. That's where it's going to take place.
The intro?
The whole season.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You can zoom in. What do you think? Pretty cool?
Yeah.
There's little crabs, little skeleton
New
guys.
suits.
New suits. Yeah, let me show you that.
Keeper's Village.
They have their own, like, ships.
Oh yeah, so the Catamaran Sea Battle, Kai gets a ship as well as the bad guy, so that's a really fun set.
Island J, Island Kai, Island Zane.
71748.
Rumble Keeper, Thunder Keeper, Chief Mamatus.
Mamatus. Hey, we need you to settle a bet for us. Is this thing down here on the left a snake or a dragon?
That's a dragon.
Come on, Dad.
Snake dragon.
Snake dragon.
I was thinking of like a water serpent almost.
No, it's the Great Devourer.
Oh!
Just for fun, how do you pronounce this guy's name with the P?
Pork.
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 Oh, man. Thanks, Lucas.
Pork. Pork. Ow, ow, I stubbed my toes.
Well, cool, guys. Thanks for rolling with that. That's what we do.
No problem.
That is all for this awesome video with Tanner and Dan. It's been really cool reacting to these sets with them, and we have an awesome season coming in front of us. Can't wait for the trailer and the teaser to come out. I'll see you in the next one.
Oh, ho, ho, that was a lot of fun. Well, now we're going to spin you out with a video from Julia. She goes by KPX Edits. You may remember her from an awesome whip sync challenge she did for our channel. Well, now Julia's back and she did an edit to our demo from that song, which is called just the Dungeon Whip Demo. And we love what she did with it. Check it out.
Telling me a boy from a junkyard can't scrap together a few new friends to help him out in a jam.
You will always stand up to those who are cruel and unjust.
You were built to protect those who cannot protect themselves.
Well, thanks for hanging with us again this week, guys. Congrats on 20 episodes, 150 subs. Make sure you like this video, get yourself subscribed if you're not already. Help us reach that big number and ring that bell so you don't miss notifications from us. We'll see you next week. Same time, same channel, slightly different whip.